Hi everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow out of Diagnostics. What do we have in the beached whale parking spot over here under the shade tree? 2012 Nissan Titan that has been off the road for half a year. Let's read the customer complaint. Let's see why this thing doesn't want to start. Alright, let's take a look here. 2012 Nissan Titan 5.6 automatic. So this truck is from Michigan, almost 7 hours away from here, and apparently they're desperate to get it back on the road. My brother-in-law's 2012 Nissan Titan went into limp mode back in March. After switching it off, it never started again. He started replacing parts. List below. And took it to Nissan for 6 weeks, where nothing was found. The truck doesn't start. How can Nissan not even find why it doesn't start? That doesn't make any sense to me. Took it to another local garage. They had it 13 weeks. Found nearly nothing, but managed to lose parts and break some things. Ridiculous. I then received it. Started to try and diagnose it with the limited knowledge I have. See below. For what I checked from the start, as far as I know, OBD scanners we have will not communicate with either ECUs. The VIN will not auto-recognize within the scanner with many E1000 codes for the BCM, TCM, ABS, IPDM 4-wheel drive module. To be clear, we seem to have no ECU communication, so he must mean engine computer. Do you have any recommendations? How to get it here? Parts replaced. Okay. IPDM relays. Fuse block on the battery, crank sensor, Amazon special. I had to drill out the bolt, install the stud for mounting, ECU from flagship 1. I installed the original, did my best to test it, found that when pin 111 gets taken to ground on the relay, check this with test lights to ground of battery to engage pins 119, 120. The power does not show on those, so I know the original computer is shot. This may be due to my brother-in-law taking the original ECU apart. Can't confirm this. New battery. What I tested original ECU as listed above pins 119, 120, no power. Tested new ECM from flagship 1, the relay comes on, 111 to ground, provides power to 119 and 120. Okay, check 5-volt reference. So 5-volt reference is good with this replacement computer. Check to make sure that when ECU relay is powered that the items come on. Engine bay power up. Similar to what you did on the Frontier, you fixed with a bad ECU. All those powered up properly, TPS, cam sensors, etc. Check security antenna with a device from Amazon that has an LED light. Yep, that's a cool little gadget that lights up when placing it over the ignition key switch and turning on the key. Bought an oscilloscope and checked the CAN H and CAN L voltages. They look okay as far as I can tell. I have never used an oscilloscope prior to this. We sent the ECU back to flagship 1. They said they cloned it to the original. We tried that today, nothing changed. Immobilizer still has a solid light, no fuel or spark, just cranks like it doesn't see the keys. Also, relay was damaged, made it worse, I replaced other 2 relays. Tried unplugging TCM, no change. Garage messed up the ECM plug sliders, of course, monkeys, you know. Tried to fix with JB Weld, it's still broken. I'm not sure where to go from here. Well, you say you're a backyard mechanic, but all the above is way above what the dealer in the other shop did. So kudos to the owner here. Or let's see, I may run, don't know for sure. I'm cranking voltmeter. Dash goes down very fast. So yeah, that's I'm glad that the guy who brought it here actually watched the videos and tried to follow the diagnostic steps. I think he did a pretty good job. He even bought an oscilloscope, checked the communication wires. So let's get a scanner, scan it for codes, see if we can talk to the ECM. If we can't, we'll go there, check all the powers and grounds and the communication lines. We've done this in other Nissan truck videos, and if everything checks out, it's going to be a bad engine computer. But we'll see. Alright, so let's verify the customer complaint. We'll turn the key on. There's a security light that stays on solid. So it should crank. Cranks just fine. Let's log in here to Nissan, do a full code scan, see if we can auto ID this truck. This is the ThinkTool Platinum S10 that I've been using for a few months. Like I said, it's only updated to 23. It's solid, it works, so I don't want to change anything about it. So input VIN of the vehicle. So yes, it could not auto ID. Let me put that in and we'll get into the topology. Okay, so I manually input the VIN. It's a Titan 2012, so confirm. And let's do the smart scan. So ECM I'm sure is going to be offline. And the other module should set those communication codes. Not too many modules, even on a 2012. That's surprising. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Interesting that the TCM is also offline. How about that? Okay, so we'll save this in a report and figure out why the ECM and the TCM are not talking. Okay, so printed off some wiring diagrams and we want to go over powers and grounds to this engine computer. So it has two connectors on it, two bulk connectors, and the smaller one has all the main powers and grounds on it, so that's very convenient. And it also has the CAN lines, pins 86 and 94 right here, so we'll check those if the powers and grounds check out. Now, what exactly are the powers and grounds? So pins 115 and 116 are both grounds, and then pin 121 is battery positive voltage all the time. You can see that on the diagram here. Pin 121 comes from B, from this 20 amp fuse, right from the battery. Then the other powers, they're switched powers, 119 and 120. I think the owner was talking about that in his email. So this ECM relay right here, it's controlled by the computer, and it also feeds power to part of the computer. So the control wire, you see this dashed red line, goes to pin 111. So when the computer sees the ignition switch input on pin 109, see that comes from ignition switch on or start, it grounds the control wire for the ECM relay on pin 111. And then what happens? Then the ECM relay clicks on and sends power on this orange tree on A, and that goes to pins 119 and 120. So pretty basic checks. Let's get a test light and see what happens. So engine computer lives right here. Here's the big connector, there's the smaller connector down here. So let me unplug them, we'll get a test light, do some checks. Okay, here we go. So I have a test light pair on the 1 amp filament. So I'm connected to battery positive. If I find a ground, test lights are going to light up. So first pins I want to check is 115 and 116. Let's see if those are good grounds. So right here, it's going to be the black, white and black wires, 115 and 116. Yep. Okay, so grounds check out fine. Alright, so next checks, let's do the powers. If I find a power with my test light, it's going to light up. Let's check the battery power, pin 121. Yes, that checks out. Alright, so now let's turn or put this in pin 109 and see if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this pin right here should come on when I turn the ignition switch on. Okay, ready? I'm going to turn the switch on. I don't see a test light. That's definitely pin 109. Is it? I gotta be careful here. I'm looking at the mirror. Nope, I was wrong. 109 is right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That one. So if I turn the switch off, alright, that checks out. Now let's listen for the relay on pin 111. That would be closer to the fat pins, so this one. Okay, so I can, if I ground that, it turns the ECM relay on. Now let's put another test light in pins 119 and 120 and see if those come on when I ground this ECM control pin, which is 111. So 109 checks out, 111 clicks, and that should control these two. Alright, so I'm going to use my little test light to ground the control pin of the ECM relay, and we'll see if the relay output is good to the engine computer. So my 1 amp test light is in the output to ground. So if I ground this pin with my little test light, 111, 1, 2, 3, yes. So relay works, we have good power. Let's just check its neighbor. It looks like we have everything that we need for this computer to come online. Okay, so I did a drag check on all of the populated pins, and these three are completely loose, like spread wide open compared to like this one. See, that holds my needle probe pretty well. And which pins are those? They are 85, 86, and 94. 85 is the K line, 86 is can low, 94 is can high. So someone's been here, someone's been probing, and unfortunately spread these pins. So I'm going to try to tighten them up. Put a scope on there, turn the key on, see if there's communication from the other modules. But otherwise, this computer should have everything it needs to talk. Alright, here we go. Turn the key on. Looks like we have a nice, healthy can on the two pins that are spread, but I made sure the contact is okay with my needle probes. You know, we can zoom in. No issues. 2.5 volts up to 3.5, down to 1.5. Let's zoom in on this. There you go. So it's unplugged from the engine computer, so you do have a little bit of ringing. So 2.5 down to, you know, there, and then the blue 2.5 to 3.5. So yeah, the levels are going to be a little bit elevated, but it's not shorted. It's not, they're identical as in symmetrical. So the only problem I see right now is these spread pins, and if we fix those and the computer still doesn't talk, then it's going to be a bad computer. Powers and grounds check out. So let me try to close up these pins somehow, maybe with a little dental pick. Try to get some tension on them, and we'll plug the computer back in. So I pulled the little yellow lock tab out of the side of the connector, right out of here, and managed to extract pin number 1, pink wire. And I'm going to try to figure out, they're microscopic. I mean, no wonder anything fine, fatter than a thin needle probe is going to spread these suckers like crazy. So I'm going to try to locate the little spring and kind of bend it back in so we have some spring tension, and we'll test it with the needle. So let me do that carefully, and we have 2 more pins to do. Okay, I think we're having some success with this first pin. So the way it's made, it's like an outer shell pressed over the inner shell. So I'm trying to get my needle in between the outer and the inner shell and just kind of bend the inner shell towards the middle. And after doing that, I put my needle probe in and we have some tension. You guys probably can't even see that. So it's holding my needle probe. So that pin is good. I'm going to put it back in. And we'll move on to its neighbor, little 2 neighbors, and hopefully this will work. Okay, I think we're done. Put the pins back in. Let's just double check the drag. So first one, nice. Second one, this one right here. Nice. Third one. Alright, let me put this little locker back in here, and then plug it back into the computer, plug in the scanner. Place your bets now. Is this thing going to fire up? Alright, here we go. So key on. Red light is on, the anti-theft. Okay, check engine light's on, but that doesn't mean much. Let's see if we can auto ID this Nissan. Okay. You should have some VIN in the computer. Come on. Dang it. Input VIN of the vehicle. That sucks. Well, let me put it in. We'll see if anything came back online. Alright, let's try the smart scan. ECM is still offline. I want to see if the TCM is still offline or not. Look, TCM's online. So I don't know why it wasn't online before. So let me finish scanning. I'm sure the COM codes are still set. We have a spare computer to try, and then I might have another computer to try. It's looking like a bad engine computer. Yep, so we still can't talk to this engine computer. CAN-COM circuit set everywhere. In ECM, if we enter, no COM. Okay, great. Let's plug in this one and see what happens. So I put a test light out there just to see if the ECM is turning on the ECM relay, and sure enough, it is, but it's not communicating. That's pretty crazy. Alright, got the spare computer plugged in. Got the red light. Let's back out. No way. Did it just auto ID? No. Okay, so let me get out of here. See, the TCM's now offline. It's not happy here. Let's restart. Key off. Key on. Nissan. Okay. Got a little excited there, but sometimes you got to reboot. Nope. Okay, so this one's dead in the water too. I'm going to try to plug in a computer that's that I have on the shelf. It might be from a V6, but the plugs, at least the you know, it just has 2 extra cylinders. But I think everything else the pinouts should be the same or very similar. We can double check, but we need to get something to talk here. So with the original ECM, it doesn't talk and it does not turn on the ECM relay. So that's interesting to note. Okay, I'm excited. This is looking promising. So in my stash, I have 2 computers from V6 Nissans, one from an 06 Xterra, and one from an 06 or 2011 Equator. This is the one that was having issues starting in the frigid cold. So the computer's still good. I know it talks. It just takes a little while to wake up in, you know, sub-freezing temperatures. So what about the pinouts? So I opened up diagrams for 2011 Nissan Frontier, which is the same as the Equator, and we're going to compare. So connector E8, that's the one we printed off for the V8. This should be identical. For example, CAN low and CAN high, pins 86 and 94. 86 and 94, so I went through all these, and these are identical. Okay? Now, what about, you know, what's the only difference? We have injector 7 and 8, and then ignition 7 and 8 on the V8, and not on the V6. And that is on the second connector, F54. So I printed off the one for the V8 and found injector 7, ignition 7, injector 8, ignition 8. And if we look at the V6 model, those pins 44 and 46 are blank, and then 63 and 65 are blank. See, 63 and 65 are populated on the V8. So this computer should plug right in, and when we scan it, it should say we're a V6. It should even run the truck on 6 cylinders, I think. But I just want something to talk here. And then we can definitely say, hey, flagship one, your computer's junk. The original computer's definitely junk. I mean, that thing blew up. We've seen this before on a Nissan Frontier, another one that just completely died out of the blue, and then we diagnosed it as a bad engine computer. So you can see, why do we have several engine computers on the bench here? Because Nissan, the Nissan trucks, this is one of their Achilles heels. The engine computers just don't hold up over time. And they're really hard to find. They're getting hard to find. They don't make them anymore. So if you own one of these Nissan trucks, stock up on a spare computer. That's my recommendation if you want to, you know, keep it on the road. All right, here goes nothing. 2011 Equator, Suzuki Equator computer plugged into a 2012 Nissan Titan V8. Let's see what happens. We got the test lamp there on the ECM relay output. I really hope something happens. Test lights on. Let's scan it, see if we can talk. Alright, here we go. Nissan, place your bets now. Are we going to auto ID this vehicle as a 2011 Frontier? There it is. Frontier 2010 confirmed. Yes. Let's see what code it's at. I'm tempted. I am really tempted to fire this thing up and see if it runs on 6 cylinders. That would be kind of neat. But yeah, we just confirmed that this flagship 1 ECM is bad. The original ECM is also bad. You can't even turn on its ECM relay. And the pins were spread on the can wire. So yeah, I could see how people were really confused, because this is totally a data-driven diagnosis, and it really helps to have a known good ECM on hand, even for something that you wouldn't think would work. It works. Look, it's talking. No problems. So let's see if it'll run on 6 cylinders. By the way, the codes are those codes there. So let's clear it out. We do have to program the key to make this thing move. See if we can make it be not a beached whale anymore. Okay. Looks good. So ECM, let's get in here. See if we can program the key to this computer. Or we want NATs, anti-theft, okay. Hopefully that this doesn't screw up like the BCM or something. So just key registration, register erase key, okay. So 2010 is 7696. Let's try it. 7696. Okay. Turn to the on position. Okay. Should blink 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, let's see if it fires up. No. Immobilizer light's not on. So maybe the cam and the crank signals are different. I mean, who knows, right? Actually, I'm sure that's the case. So let's back out. Let's do automatically search. Yep, Frontier. So, yep, it's not going to run. I was too hopeful, but that's it. We need a known good engine computer for this truck.